Well, a new program has been launched to help young people in Nigeria reach their full potential. Unicef is focusing on getting youths into work as part of Generation Unlimited Nigeria. Itoro Udofia reports.
Nigeria has one of the youngest populations in the world, and with youth unemployment at 37%, the country is at risk of a lost generation.
When you are in this kind of environment, ideas begin to flood your head. And so I was able to get some ideas, basically entrepreneurship, because it's actually a wonderful aspect of being young.
The future is ours, so we have to start taking charge from now. We have to start making a difference. We have to start speaking up.
The project has an ambitious goal of reaching 20 million youth by the year 2030. Unicef are particularly trying to reach girls and people who have disabilities.
To ensure that Genuine Nigeria, as we've already heard, reaches 20 million young Nigerians by 2030 with education, skills training, employment, entrepreneurship, and empowerment. Imagine a society where the younger generation has access to an abundance of opportunities and have been equipped with the required skills and trainings to harness and leverage these opportunities.
This is far from the first project that's been established aimed at helping youth in Nigeria. Many of those launched to great fanfare, but ultimately achieved little. There are concerns this pattern could be repeated.
So we have to be accountable. The reason we were set up is to deliver results. We don't convene as a partnership to talk, we convene to do and drive results. And the good thing is, because we're using so much technology and how we're driving these job connections through job sites like Jobberman, how we're working with Microsoft to provide digital skilling, in fact, it's quite easy to measure.
Generation Unlimited has already reached 400,000 Nigerian youths. It's connecting students to the internet, helping young people start businesses, and teaching soft skills such as how to work with people, team building, and communication. It's hoped the success this project has already achieved will continue and eventually be used as a model for countries across the continent to follow. Itoro Udofia, Arise News.
All right, thank you so much, Itoro Udofia. The UNICEF's country representative for Nigeria, Peter Hawkins, is here with us. Glad to have you join us at Newsnight.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. In this program, as I've learned, you intend to connect schools to the internet and get everyone online. Tell us how you want to go about this, and also what about rural areas? I mean, those areas are deep, like in the woods, and how are you going to connect them?
Absolutely, that is the challenge that we're faced with, and that is the challenge we should be held to account for. Getting children or schools connected in urban centres is one thing, but getting children connected in rural areas is a completely different thing. It's about the expansion of the digital platform. And it's not only that physical expansion, but it's also the expansion of access to the digital platform. No children should be left behind, and that's one of the objectives of Generation Unlimited, to make sure that all children have an equal ability to access the internet or access data and access the information, access the skills, and to be able to move into the employment market or into the entrepreneurship market as equals.
Yeah, you've told me, before she comes in, you've told me what you wanted, but you've not told me how you're going to connect the rural areas.
That's what I want to know. That matters the most.
Absolutely. Yes. And this is the challenge we're faced with. And this is the challenge why Generation Unlimited is so key. It's a partnership between the private sector, the United Nations and international community, with the government and the young people themselves. So the young people drive the energy to want to do it, the demand. The private sector work with us very closely to ensure that we can expand that digital platform right into the rural areas where it doesn't necessarily give the profit margins that you would expect elsewhere. One of the issues that we're dealing with is called Giga. It looks at mapping both the masks and the use of data plus the schools. One of the areas we're looking at is where data is less used. Generally, that's a poorer community, and how we can connect that excess data with that community so that it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay, well, this project or program, if you like, seems to be quite ambitious. 1.8 billion globally, and you're targeting 20 million youth in Nigeria by 2030.
That's right.
How exactly, of course, he's asked that question, how do you hope to achieve it? But what exactly are the specifics in terms of what you're going to be giving this youth? Nigeria, for example, has a youth unemployment rate of about almost 50%.
No, it is ambitious. And I remember sitting down 18 months ago, but this is a program that's been taking 18 months to evolve so that we know we can do it. When I sat down and we discussed with the private sector and us within the United Nations, is 20 million ambitious enough? They wanted to move to 40 million.
Oh, really?
And I prefer to stick with 20 million so that you can increase your ambition rather than reduce your ambition. But a population of 65 million between the age of 10 and 24, 20 million people, there's an opportunity here. It's an opportunity the government wants to seize, opportunity where the international community and the United Nations want to seize. But what was fantastic about today was the level of private sector engagement, enthusiasm, wanting to come in and connect between the private sector and the young people. Let's not forget, an investment by them today in young people is a profit tomorrow. And that's what they want. That's the incentive that you want to create.
Yeah, when I was discussing with Itoro, and I listened to one of the respondents that said the same thing. He talked about, we didn't come here to talk, but to do. That's an interesting line. Yeah. You would agree. So let's talk about implementation, follow-up, accountability, like he mentioned, and plans to track this.
Yeah. So one, if you look at young people engagement, that has been going on now for well over 3 years. Unicef itself has a program called U-Report. Many of your listeners are aware of that, where young people are engaged. 3.7 million people are engaged on U-Report as an interface of discussion backwards and forwards about the challenges and some of the solutions. Generation Unlimited Challenge Fund accessed 450,000 in the past year. In actual fact, and it was highlighted today in the event, the team in Maiduguri called Street to School won a global award. I mean, this shows the resilience and the enthusiasm and the sheer talent that Nigeria has, and it's about trying to expose that. On school-to-school connectivity, we've already started in Lagos and mapping it out. Kano will come soon. We're already discussing with Edo State how we can build the Generation Unlimited architecture, which starts off with education, moves to skills, matching with employability, looking at entrepreneurship, all along looking at technology as an enabler, all along looking at young people's engagement as a way of recognizing that population and valuing that population.
One of the issues, one of the concerns raised there was, how do you guarantee that this will not just be another talk shop when everybody goes home? That's it. What's going to stand this out from other similar programs in the past?
I think more than anything, and as the CEO of Generation Unlimited Global said, Kevin Fry, it's the engagement of the private sector. They're wanting to actually drive this, the engagement of the young people, the demand that they're building up and wanting to connect between the private sector and the young people, and the government and the United Nations facilitate that, encourage it, and move it forward.
Okay, great. How do you find this youth? I mean, when you say 20 million, where do you find them?
You find it all the way. I mean, they are fantastic. They engage. They want to move forward. They want to be heard and to be seen, and they're there. And 450,000 during a pandemic. Yeah. They moved from one system to the next to really engage with each other and with other people.
Yeah. Before we let you run along, very briefly, in 45 seconds if you can, let's talk about reaching the physically challenged. That was one of the high points there. And then ramping up the girl education. Yeah.
I think two very, very important elements to that. One, technology helps us with physically impaired people, because technology working, telecommuting, moving from one type of industry to another type of industry. The girl child, this is where leave no one behind is so important. The last mile is so important. It's about creating equal opportunities for both.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And we really hope that you'll be able to measure this in the shortest possible time in terms of success. Peter Hawkins, country rep, UNICEF, thank you so much for joining us.